Chapter 2954 Occupying a Seat. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. Perhaps, misreputation has already spread to the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, which is why so many geniuses are here. The elders discussed again, and felt that it was very possible. The beauty of the Night Rose was unparalleled. Coupled with the talent that she had displayed in the past few years, it was possible that her cultivation would soar and her reputation would spread far and wide. Lu Ming was listening at the side, and was not in a hurry to make a move. "Rose, you too?" Night Devil King said to Night Rose. "All right." Night Rose nodded. She took a step forward and charged towards a fighting ring. "Miss Rose, you're going to help too? I won't show any mercy. Miss Chiangwei, you should go down by yourself. I can't bear to attack a beauty like you." The young men teased. However, in the next moment, they could no longer laugh, because they would be left on the fighting stage forever. Because Night Rose had made her move, she stretched out her scallion-like fingers and pointed out continuously. The finger forces were extremely terrifying, and directly killed the youths who were teasing her. The others gasped and retreated. The terrifying strength that Night Rose displayed shocked many people. The sorcerer's blood, the burly young man with the saber, and the others all looked surprised. They did not expect the strength of the Night Rose to be so shocking. "It's almost time to make a move." Lu Ming stepped out and walked towards one of the fighting rings. There weren't any strong experts on this fighting ring. Thump! As soon as Lu Ming landed on the fighting ring, someone had his eyes on him. A third-level celestial deity also dares to come up. Courting death kill. A skinny young man shouted coldly and slashed his sword at Lu Ming. A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's palm without a sound. "Break the air." With a thought, the spear's light burst out. Pfft! The skinny young man's forehead was pierced through, and he died on the spot. However, the killing of one person did not cause the others to be alarmed. Instead, a few young men charged towards Lu Ming together. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming shook the long spear, and a few more spearlights burst out immediately. Then these few young men were left in the fighting ring forever. As a result, it attracted the attention of the other young men, who were fighting on the fighting stage. "This brat is a pain in the ass. Let's join forces and kill him." "Alright, let's kill him together." At that moment, at least dozens of other young men on the fighting ring charged toward Lu Ming. "You're looking for death." Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. His divine power surged wildly and his long spear danced. The spear radiance was as huge as a mountain range, and swept in all directions. Night Demon Lord announced after drawing his lot. "It'll be the first one." Lu Ming smiled, and flew up to the main fighting ring. However, when he flew up to the main fighting ring, he was stunned. His opponent was the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. I admit defeat." The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm could only admit that she was unlucky when she saw Lu Ming. She had already fought with Lu Ming, and knew that she was no match for him. She might as well admit defeat. I admit defeat." Some people were surprised that the woman with the snake on her arm had admitted defeat. After all, the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm was a 6th-level heavenly deity at the Divine Sun level. As for Lu Ming, he was only a 3rd-level celestial deity. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm had actually surrendered without a fight. It seems that this kid can't be underestimated. Perhaps he has some terrifying means. The paragons in the other fighting rings thought to themselves, and could not help but size Lu Ming up. The woman with the snake wrapped around her arm rushed down the fighting ring and admitted defeat. The Night Demon King then kept her fighting ring. Lu Ming returned to the number 16 Coliseum. Then the competition continued. For example, the burly youth with the saber and the black-robed youth with the spear were both extremely powerful and easily defeated their opponents. In addition, the Wizard Blood and the Night Rose were also very powerful, and they crushed their opponents. Of course, there were also some who were on par with each other, and the battle was very intense. There were even people who had to fight for thousands of moves before the victor was decided. After a few days, the first round ended, and the top 16 were born. Then the second round began. The second round was the same as the first round. It was decided by drawing lots. Many people were nervous and looking forward to it. As long as they passed the second round, they would be able to enter the top 10. Entering the top 10 would give him a gene of Demon Night Spring. This was a huge harvest. Number 16 against number 11. The Night Demon Lord announced. Chapter 2954 Spear Tip, Turning into Lightning. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. In the second round, Lu Ming was the first to fight again. In this round, Lu Ming's opponent was a youth in a blood-red robe. He was a peak 6th level celestial deity, and the divine energy he controlled was also divine-grade divine energy. This person's strength was even stronger than Sword Dao Wuji and Mo Jui of the Qin Heaven Starfield. Wild Blood Shadow Blade. The blood-robed young man would not admit defeat. However, he had seen the woman with the snake on her arm admit defeat earlier. He did not dare to be careless in the face of Lu Ming. He attacked with a killing move. The saber shadows that filled the sky enveloped Lu Ming, wanting to kill him. However, Lu Ming had directly triggered a fourfold increase in combat power. Boom! The fighting stage shook as the spear radiance shot up into the sky. The blood-red saber shadows that filled the sky instantly fell apart. The blood-robed young man screamed and flew out of the fighting ring while spitting blood. He was defeated in one move. What terrifying battle strength! Many people in the surroundings gasped. Especially the people from Magic City Mountain. They had never seen such a powerful heaven's favorite before, so they were naturally dumbfounded. Even Wuxia and the others became serious. A third-level celestial deity being able to unleash such battle prowess was truly shocking. He's really powerful. In one of the battle rings, Night Rose licked her rosy lips as a fiery light flashed across her eyes, along with a wisp of greed. After Lu Ming won, he returned to the number 16 Coliseum. The competition continued. The burly youth who was holding the battle blade was called Pei Lin. He was an 8th-level celestial deity and had overpowered a 7th-level celestial deity to obtain victory. The black-robed young man who used the spear was called Su Mu. He had also defeated his opponent and won. Soon after, the Wizard Blood and the Night Rose also won. Not long after, the top 8 were born. However, in order to select the top 10, they were short of 2 spots, so they had to choose from the 8 people who had just been defeated. Therefore, the 8 people who had been defeated went through another round of competition and finally chose 2 spots for a total of 10 people. This king has said that if you enter the top 10, you will be able to obtain 1 gene of Demon Night Spring. Now I will give it to you. After saying that, the Night Demon Lord waved his hand, and a jade bottle appeared in front of him. The jade bottle was transparent, almost transparent, and one could see what was inside. There was a black liquid in the jade bottle. Many people's eyes burned with passion when they saw the jade bottle. Inside it contained the Demon Night Spring. It could nurture and strengthen the soul. It was priceless. Of course, no one dared to make a move. The Night Demon Lord waved his hand, and 10 jade bottles flew out, flying toward Lu Ming and the other 3. Lu Ming waved his hand and grabbed a jade bottle in his hand, putting it away without a sound. Alright, the competition will continue. It will still be one-on-one duels, the Night Demon Lord announced, and then began to draw lots. Number 1, number 6, the Night Demon Lord announced. This time, Lu Ming was not the first to appear. Number 1, Pei Lin. Number 6 was a 7th-level celestial deity expert. The two of them had a huge battle, but Pei Lin's cultivation was higher and he won. Number 16, number 2, the Night Demon Lord announced. It was Lu Ming's turn. Lu Ming moved and flew up to the main fighting ring. With a flash, a black-robed young man also jumped onto the fighting ring. It's him. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The black-robed young man was the one who used the long spear. His name was Su Mu. You and I both use long spears. Unfortunately, your cultivation is too weak. You are not my opponent. Su Mu was very confident. He indeed had the capital to be confident. His cultivation was at the peak of the 7th-level celestial deity realm, but his combat strength was exceptionally powerful. Even prodigies of the same level as him were not his match. Moreover, Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the 3rd-level celestial deity realm. No matter how powerful Lu Ming was, he could still defeat him. It's too early to say that. We'll only know after the battle. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Then I'll fulfill your wish, lightning spear divine art. Su Mu shouted, and a violent aura burst out from his body. Whoosh! A dazzling spear's gleam turned into a bolt of black lightning, and shot toward Lu Ming. It was so fast that it was not slower than lightning. At the same time, Lu Ming made his move. He activated his fourfold combat strength, and used the air-piercing move. A ray of spear light pierced towards the other party like a meteor. Ding! Ding! The fighting ring was like a shooting star, and a black lightning bolt. They collided with each other, creating an ear-piercing boom. Then, a strong wind swept across the fighting ring. The spear's radiance burst out in all directions. The entire fighting ring was filled with colorful spear radiance. Buzz! Before the spear radiance had dissipated, the two figures retreated at the same time. The difference was that Su Mu had only retreated about 100 meters before he stopped, while Lu Ming had retreated a few kilometers. Moreover, the battle platform was large enough, with a radius of 100 miles. Otherwise, Lu Ming would have withdrawn from the battle platform. You want to fight me with this little strength? Get lost. Die! Su Mu shouted. His body seemed to have disappeared into thin air. Then black lightning bolts shot toward Lu Ming from the fighting ring. Chapter 2956 Battle Witch's Blood. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. I admit defeat. Seeing Lu Ming chasing after him, Su Mu roared and quickly admitted defeat. Even his strongest ultimate move had been broken by Lu Ming, and he was severely injured. How could he dare to continue fighting? If he continued, he would only be abused. Hearing that Su Mu had admitted defeat, Lu Ming did not continue to pursue him. He had no enmity with Su Mu, so all he had to do was defeat him. Su Mu landed on the fighting stage and cupped his fists. Many thanks. Third-level celestial deity actually has such powerful strength. Admirable. After saying that, Su Mu's figure flashed, and he rushed down the fighting stage. Lu Ming had won this battle. This kid's battle strength is truly astonishing. Lu Ming had defeated Su Mu, causing Pei Lin and the rest to look solemn. The duel continued. The people who were going to fight next were all people with high cultivation and shocking strength. Lu Ming could not help but sigh. After leaving the Qin Heaven Star Zone and entering the Chu Heaven Star Zone, it seemed that the geniuses he met all controlled divine-grade divine energy. It was as if divine-grade divine power had become the standard of whether or not one was a heaven's favorite. Sacred-grade divine power was simply not enough. The intense battle went on for 3 days. In the end, Pei Lin, Sorcerer Blood, Night Rose, a bald young man, and Lu Ming made it into the top 5. After that, it was the battle between the top 5. In this battle, Night Devil King announced that Night Rose would not get a bye. It would be a battle between Lu Ming, Pei Lin, Wuxia, and the bald young man. The others had no objections. The goal of those who had made it this far was to be first. Therefore, it didn't matter who got a bye. The first round, Lu Ming, Pei Lin. The Night Demon Lord announced. Lu Ming and Pei Lin leaped onto the fighting ring. The two of them didn't waste any words and immediately started fighting. Pei Lin's strength was very strong, even stronger than Su Mu. He had reached the 8th level Heavenly God realm. This time, Lu Ming had to transform into a green-armored ancient god to defeat Pei Lin. Damn it! How could this kid's strength be so amazing? He didn't even use his full strength when he was fighting Su Mu. Among all the people present, the one who was the most annoyed was the Witch Blood. Previously, he had declared that he would kill Lu Ming. However, he was less and less confident now. Then the Sorcerer's Blood fought against the bald young man. The battle between the two was very strange. The Sorcerer's Blood emitted a bloody mist that covered the fighting ring. The bald young man seemed to be unable to exert his full strength at all. He could only exert 60 to 70% of his full strength. He was easily defeated by the Sorcerer's Blood. Kid, it's your turn next. After the Witch's Blood defeated the bald young man, it shot Lu Ming a provocative look. It also attacks the soul? Lu Ming muttered. The corners of his mouth curled into a cold smile. Obviously, the way the Witch Blood attacked was very similar to that of the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. It could also directly attack the soul. Therefore, his opponent could not exert 100% of his strength. However, Lu Ming was not afraid of such an attack at all, because he had the measure formula. With that, the top 3 would be decided. Next, the Night Rose will still have a bye. Lu Ming and the Witch Blood will fight. The winner will be able to challenge the Night Rose. After defeating the Night Rose, he will be the champion of this great battle in Magic City. If he can date my daughter, he will also be able to get 10 pounds of Demon Night Spring. The Night Demon Lord announced. This made many people jealous. 10 caddies of Demon Night Spring, and he could still get a stunner like the Night Rose. It would be strange if he wasn't jealous, especially some young men, who kept glancing at the sensitive parts of the Night Rose. Their bodies were hot, and some parts of their bodies were already restless. He had no choice, the Night Rose was too tempting. Kid, come. Wu Shui rushed up to the fighting ring, and looked at Lu Ming with a ferocious look. As you wish. Lu Ming smiled faintly. He took a step forward and leaped onto the fighting ring, appearing to be at ease. Boom. The moment Lu Ming leaped onto the fighting ring, the sorcerer's blood was used. Wu Shui's entire body turned as red as blood. Blood-red mist kept spurting out of the pores of his body. Suddenly, the entire fighting ring was shrouded in the blood-red mist. Unable to avoid it, Lu Ming was enveloped by the blood-red mist. The blood-red mist seemed to have a mind of its own as it rushed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated his divine energy. 10 types of divine energy enveloped his body to resist the blood-red mist. Chi-chi. The blood-red mist was very similar to the mist of the woman with the snake wrapped in her arm. Lu Ming used 10 types of divine powers to block it, but he could not block much. Most of the mist rushed into Lu Ming's body and rushed toward his soul in his sea of consciousness. Leave it to me. The sound of the quantity formula rang out, and a devouring power erupted, devouring all the mist. As for Lu Ming, he just stood there, not moving. Junior sister Lian said that this kid is extremely strange. The divine chi seems to be ineffective on him, but I don't believe it. It's not effective at all. Maybe junior sister's cultivation is too low. Continue. Wu Shui roared in his heart, and madly circulated his divine power. His divine power was transformed into refined divine chi, through a special cultivation technique, and gushed out continuously. The mist on the fighting ring became thicker and thicker, until it was almost pitch black. At this moment, Lu Ming's body swayed, as if he could not take it anymore. This brat is finally unable to hold on. The sorcerer's blood was overjoyed. He shook his arms, and the 2 large snakes on his arms slithered toward Lu Ming silently. As they neared Lu Ming, the 2 giant snakes suddenly expanded and turned into 2 giant pythons. They pounced at Lu Ming and spat out 2 streams of poisonous gas. Before the poisonous gas arrived, a nauseating smell filled the air. I've been waiting. Lu Ming's eyes lit up, and the corners of his lips curled into a cold smile. With a thought, 9 ice chains flew out from his body. A bone-piercing chill filled the air, and layers of ice crystals appeared in the air. The poisonous gas spewed out by the 2 pythons was also frozen. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 9 ice chains wrapped around the 2 giant pythons, and the coldness seeped into the bodies of the giant pythons, freezing them. The 2 giant pythons writhed and struggled crazily. Not good. Wu Shui's expression changed drastically. He took a step forward and pounced toward Lu Ming. Roar! At that moment, Lu Ming let out a loud roar and transformed into his ancient god body. However, Lu Ming still held back, and only transformed into a green-armored ancient god. Buzz! The long spear vibrated and swept out, sweeping across the bodies of the 2 giant pythons. The 2 giant pythons screamed in pain, and their bodies exploded, dying on the spot. Ah, damn it, I want you to die. Wu Shui roared and waved his hands. The mist on the fighting ring rolled up crazily, and turned into 2 evil ghosts, which charged at Lu Ming. However, this kind of fog was completely useless against Lu Ming. He ignored the fog, and waved his spear at the witch's blood. Moon slaying. Lu Ming's long spear struck out. Blood-red palm. Wu Shui had also used his ultimate move. His body turned even redder, and it seemed as if blood was flowing on the surface of his skin. Chapter 2957 Night Rose. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. However, even though the sorcerer's blood was an 8th level celestial deity, and an existence that could control divine-grade divine power, its attack power mainly came from the blood-colored mist, which was his true trump card. His frontal attack was not very strong, his most powerful trump card was useless, and the strength of his witch blood was even lower than Su Mu's. Bang! Lu Ming's long spear collided with the bloody palm. The bloody palm could only resist for 2 breaths before it exploded. The spear's radiance did not stop, and bombarded the body of the sorcerer's blood. Wu Shui let out a blood-curdling screech as his body was sent flying backward. He crashed heavily into the fighting ring, and slid for hundreds of miles, before flying out of the fighting ring. The witch's blood was defeated. To Lu Ming, it was much easier to defeat the sorcerer's blood. Everyone's gaze was focused on Lu Ming. Lu Ming had defeated the witch blood. The next match would be against the Dark Rose. As long as he defeated the Dark Rose, Lu Ming would be able to get first place, and even win the beauty. A gust of fragrant wind blew. Night Rose's figure floated and landed in front of Lu Ming. Night Rose was not wearing much. Her skin was as white as jade, not fat or thin, and full of elasticity. In addition to her beautiful face, she was even more alluring. Her eyes were like silk as she swept her gaze across Lu Ming's body, looking very satisfied. However, for some reason, Lu Ming's body tensed up involuntarily when the Dark Rose sized him up like that, as if he was facing a terrifying enemy. What's going on? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. His body actually reacted instinctively. It was a reaction in the face of danger. The Night Rose gave him a terrible sense of danger. Clearly, Night Rose did not reveal the slightest killing intent. Lu Ming was puzzled, but he did not show it on his face. He cupped his fists and said, "Please enlighten me, young lady. I admit defeat." Just when everyone thought that the two of them were going to have a fierce battle, Night Rose's voice was heard. What? Everyone was stunned. Before the battle even started, Night Rose had already admitted defeat. What was going on? Could it be that Night Rose saw Lu Ming's abilities and knew that she was no match for him? That's why she admitted defeat? Someone guessed. I don't think that's right. The abilities that Night Rose displayed previously are simply unfathomable. She might be able to fight with Lu Ming. Why would she admit defeat without fighting? I think that he has taken a fancy to that kid. Hence, he might as well admit defeat without fighting. Someone immediately retorted, causing many people to be stunned. Don't tell me you've really taken a fancy to me? Sigh. It seems that being handsome is also a kind of trouble. Besides, it was also the best choice to enter the city lord's mansion, since Qiuyu and the rest were locked up there. This was exactly what Lu Ming wanted, so there was no reason for him to refuse. That night, Lu Ming moved into the city lord's residence. Many people were envious of him. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. Young Master Lu Ming, the young lady would like to see you. On the evening of the 3rd day, a maidservant came to invite Lu Ming. Maidservant, of course, it was Night Rose's maidservant. He's finally looking for me. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. For the past 2 days, the Night Rose did not come to look for Lu Ming. Now they had finally come. For the past 2 days, Lu Ming did not take the initiative to look for the Night Rose, because he always felt a sense of danger from the Night Rose. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. Unfortunately, Bone Demon wasn't here, or he would have asked for his help. As for the measure formula and the battle formula, although they had lived for countless years, they did not know much. Alright, let's go. Since Night Rose had taken the initiative to invite him, Lu Ming had no reason to reject her. He could take the opportunity to gather some information. He followed the servant girl and walked around before arriving at a courtyard. In the courtyard, there was a small bridge with flowing water and the fragrance of flowers. It was very elegant. A pavilion was built on a small river. There were stone tables and stools in the pavilion. Some food and wine were already placed on the table. The sun had already set. In the pavilion, there were a few lit candles. The candlelight flickered, and the light was dim. "Brother Lu, please." Night Rose stood up to welcome him. Chapter 2958. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. Today, Night Rose had changed her clothes and was even more alluring. What happened next was completely beyond Lu Ming's expectations. The Night Rose actually used all means to seduce Lu Ming, as if they wanted to rape him on the spot. Fortunately, Lu Ming was mentally strong and managed to resist the temptation. That was because Lu Ming instinctively felt a deep sense of danger from the Night Rose. This sense of danger caused his mind to tremble. Lu Ming felt that the Night Rose seemed to want to eat him. Therefore, Lu Ming calmed down. Lu Ming, can you not leave tonight? After her actions were ineffective against Lu Ming, Night Rose spoke again. Even a fool could understand what she meant. Any normal man would not be able to resist such temptation. However, Lu Ming had completely calmed down. He felt that the sense of danger coming from the Dark Rose was getting stronger and stronger. He had a feeling that if he couldn't resist the temptation and really had sex with the Night Rose, he would probably die. Lu Ming's mind was spinning rapidly as he thought of a countermeasure. Night Rose's small hands were already moving around Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming reached out and grabbed the small hand of the Night Rose. He gritted his teeth and put on an expression as if he was resisting the temptation. Miss Chiangwei, Lu Ming has never experienced such a thing. Moreover, we don't know much about it. It's not very good to do such a thing. What's not good about it? You can slowly understand it in the future. The Night Rose smiled faintly. Her breath was like orchids, and a fragrance rushed into Lu Ming's nose. Lu Ming's heart beat faster. No, there's poison in this fragrance. Lu Ming was greatly shocked. He finally sensed that there was poison in the fragrance. This poison could stimulate the burning desire in one's body. It was no wonder that even with Lu Ming's mental fortitude, he could not remain calm. This Night Rose is indeed up to no good. Could it be that she's cultivating some kind of evil technique that absorbs yang to supplement yin? Lu Ming's mind was racing. He guessed that Night Rose had cultivated some kind of evil art and had taken a fancy to his talent. So she wanted to use this evil art on him. Old Liang, I'll leave it to you. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to the quantity formula. Immediately, the quantity formula emitted an attractive force and absorbed the poison. Lu Ming calmed down completely. Lu Ming circulated his divine power and shook it slightly. He pushed the Dark Rose away and moved to a stone bench at the side. Miss Rose, I'm a traditional person. Before I fully understand it, I will not have sex with any woman. Please forgive me, Lu Ming said, putting on the look of a gentleman. This fellow. Night Rose secretly gritted her teeth and secretly despised him in her heart. She didn't expect that he would still have such stubborn thoughts. Forcing out a smile, Dark Rose said, Brother Lu, please don't misunderstand me. I was just testing you. Brother Lu, you're indeed a gentleman. I'm impressed. Come on, let's continue drinking. Pa. Lu Ming felt contempt in his heart. Testing? If Lu Ming had not resisted the temptation just now, he would have lost his virginity. Come drink. Naturally, Lu Ming would not show it on his face. He picked up his glass and drank with Dark Rose. Next, it was time to chat. By the way, Miss Rose, I heard that there's a group of demon slaves in Magic City. I wonder where they're being held. Lu Ming asked calmly while drinking. Demon slave? They're all locked up in the Colosseum. After being rejected by Lu Ming, Night Rose seemed to be a little absent-minded. She answered casually and did not think much about it. Animal arena? Beast fighting? Lu Ming's heart was filled with cold killing intent, but he did not show it on his face. Lu Ming controlled his temper and drank a few more glasses. He then found an excuse to leave. Then I won't be sending you off, Rose, said Night Rose with a smile. No need to send me off, Lu Ming said, and then left the place. After watching Lu Ming leave, a ferocious look appeared on Night Rose's face. Her eyes were filled with greed. A third-level celestial deity actually has such terrifying combat strength. It's extremely rare. Furthermore, I can feel an incomparably exuberant life force. I must obtain it. I must obtain it. Lu Ming, you won't be able to escape from me. Hee. The Night Rose let out a sharp laugh, which was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming left the mansion of the Night Rose. He did not return to his room, but left the city lord's mansion directly. He asked someone for the location of the animal arena and headed there directly. His heart was burning with anxiety. He didn't know how Qiu Yu Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong were doing after so many days. If anything happened to them, Lu Ming would flatten Magic City Mountain. The Colosseum was huge and was not far from the city lord's mansion. It was a huge building. When Lu Ming neared the Colosseum, he heard a deafening roar coming from the Colosseum. Lu Ming walked toward the main entrance of the animal arena. There were guards at the entrance of the Colosseum, blocking Lu Ming. The entrance fee is 1,000 mid-grade god crystals, one of the burly men said coldly. Lu Ming gave him 1,000 mid-grade divine crystals and walked into the Colosseum. As they walked into the Colosseum, the cheers became even more intense, wave after wave. Chapter 2958 Demonic Slave. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. The Colosseum was circular in shape, and there was a huge fighting stage in the middle. There were seats all around the fighting ring. At this moment, 90% of the seats were occupied by people of all kinds. Roar! At this moment, a huge battle was taking place in the middle of the fighting ring. An expert from the Serpent Men race was currently engaged in an intense battle with a desolate beast. The Serpent Men experts were first-level celestial deities, and that desolate beast was also first-level celestial deity. The two of them were at the same cultivation level, and the battle was extremely brutal. However, that desolate beast was clearly more ferocious. It was not afraid of death, and it roared continuously as it pounced towards the Serpent Men expert. The Serpent Men experts were gradually losing, and were forced to retreat. Roar! In the end, the desolate beast went crazy. It risked its own injuries, and tore the Serpent Men expert into pieces, causing blood to splatter all over the ground. Alright, good kill, it's exciting. At the scene there was another wave of cheers. Countless people were shouting excitedly. Men, clean up! Immediately, someone came to the fighting ring, and cleaned up the corpses of the human-snake hybrid clan, and wiped the blood stains. The injured dire beast was also brought down. Following that, another battle broke out. The target of the battle was a burly human, and on the other side, it was still a desolate beast. It's time to bet, it's time to start betting. Both sides have peak stage 9 true god cultivation. Which side are you betting on? An old man stood in the air above the fighting ring, and his voice spread throughout the entire arena. I think the desolate beast is stronger. I'll bet 10,000 mid-grade divine crystals on the desolate beast. No, I think that human warrior's blood chi is surging and full of killing intent. I think he'll be stronger. I bet 20,000 divine crystals on the human warrior. Many people began to place their bets. However, it was very simple for them to place their bets. Many of them had something like an array card in their hands. They would enter the amount of money they had bet on, and who they wanted to bet on. When they left this place, they would calculate the results. The Colosseum was organized by the Night Demon King, and no one dared to renege on their debt. The bets were placed and the battle began. The burly human and the wild beast were engaged in a fierce battle. Both of them were at peak stage 9 true god realm. However, the moment they attacked, the burly human had the upper hand. The human's attack was decisive, and one could tell with a single glance that he was someone who had experienced hundreds of battles. His attack power was very powerful. From the start, he was suppressing the desolate beast. I'm winning. Those who bet on the human race were overjoyed, while those who bet on the wild beast's side. Kill! After fighting the wild beast for dozens of moves, the burly human roared and slashed out, beheading the wild beast. The burly human won. Men, clean up! In the sky above the fighting ring, the old man ordered again. Wait a moment. At this moment, a silver-robed young man stood up from his seat and stepped out in the air. It's Wen Xing. That human is finished. That's right. I think Wen Xing has bet wrongly again. He bet on the desolate beast. Every time he bets wrongly, he will be in a bad mood. Once he is in a bad mood, he will kill someone. Shush, lower your voice. He's the son of the Devil Lord. Many people started whispering to each other when they saw the young man. They seemed to be very afraid of him. Demon Master was a name for the demon capital. Under the Night Demon King, there were 9 demon masters. Each demon master's cultivation was extremely profound, surpassing the 9th-level celestial deity. They were all half-step divine kings. In the heavenly god realm, if one wanted to break through to the god-king realm, one must first form a star core. Only when a star core was successfully formed could one be considered a true god-king. However, the star core was not something that could be condensed just because one wanted to. There was a transition in the process of condensing the star core. During this process, the star core would not be completely condensed. However, it was also the process of transforming from divine fire to the star core. This was the transition from a heavenly god to a god king. It was the transition to the half-step god king realm. The strength of a half-step divine king was inferior to a true divine king, but it was also a great deal stronger than ordinary 9th-level celestial deity. The 9 demon masters under the Dark Knight Demon King were such existences. Wanxing was the only son of one of the demon masters. In Demonic City, he was naturally a character who could do whatever he wanted. Young Master Wan, the old man in the air saluted Wanxing. You made me lose money. You deserve to die. Kill! Kill! Wanxing shouted coldly and charged at the human. What? The human was shocked. He roared and blocked with all his might. However, Wanxing's cultivation base was at the first level of the heavenly deity realm. Although the burly human was strong, he was still a long way off from Wanxing Puchi. Blood splattered in all directions as the burly human was slain by Wanxing with a single sword strike. After killing the burly human, Wanxing snorted coldly and returned to his seat. The old man in the air didn't even dare to let out a fart. After all, Wanxing's father, the lord of all demons, was sitting in the Colosseum. Whoever dared to say anything about Wanxing would be courting death. Moreover, it was just a mere demonic slave. I want to level Magic City Mountain. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. Many people watched nervously, wanting to see how Wu Zifeng, with his cultivation at the 7th stage of True God, would deal with the desolate beast at the 8th stage of True God. Just as the giant bull was about to rush to Wu Zifeng moved. His figure flashed, and he dodged the giant bull's attack. Then, a sword light cut through the wind from his hand and slashed at the giant bull. Fast, accurate, and ruthless. Puchi! A long wound appeared on the giant cow's body. It went straight through its bones and blood flowed out. Roar! The giant bull screamed, but its bestial nature was also stimulated. It twisted its body and rushed toward Wu Zifeng again. Its 2 horns glowed and burst out 2 rays of light as sharp as divine knives. However, a sword radiance burst forth from Wu Zifeng's palm and collided with the giant bull's attack. Bang! Bang! The giant bull's attack was sent flying by Wu Zifeng. He stepped forward and slashed again. The sword was aimed at the giant bull's neck. Pft! Blood splattered everywhere. The giant cow's head was directly cut off by Wu Zifeng's sword. Wu Zifeng only used 2 moves to kill the giant bull, which was 1 level higher than him. This result was within Lu Ming's expectations. In fact, with Wu Zifeng's strength, if he used his full strength, he could probably kill the giant bull in 1 move. So powerful. Haha, I won. The scene was in an uproar. Many people who had bet on Wu Zifeng's victory were overjoyed. As for those who bet on the desolate beast winning, they had ugly expressions. The ugliest one was Wanxing. Today he had failed to win again and again, so he was in an extremely bad mood. You're looking for death. Die. Wanxing shouted angrily. His body burst out of his seat and rushed toward the fighting ring. Young Master Wan, wait a moment. The old man in the air quickly called out. If you have a fart, then quickly spit it out. Wanxing impatiently shouted. Young Master Wan, this man is extremely talented. We can't kill him. He might be useful if we keep him alive. The old man advised. With Wu Zifeng's strength, if he was properly trained, he might become a sharp blade of Magic City Mountain. What can't be killed? I'm telling you, there's no one here that I can't kill. What's a little bit of talent to me? Get lost. If you don't get lost, I'll kill you too. Wanxing coldly shouted. His killing intent was cold. The old man's expression was unsightly, and he helplessly retreated. Brat, I'll send you on your way. Wan Xing stared at Wu Zifeng with a cold gaze. If you dare to touch me, I'll definitely destroy Magic City Mountain if I don't die. Wu Zifeng said. He was the Wu family's young master, and yet he had actually fallen into such a situation. He was also holding a breath in his heart. You still want to destroy my Magic City Mountain? I'll destroy you now. Wan Xing shouted, and was about to charge towards Wu Zijin. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Wan Xing and blocked him. This figure was naturally Lu Ming. He originally wanted to wait until he saw Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong before he made his move. But now, he had no choice but to do so. Kid, who are you? Get lost. Wan Xing was furious when he saw that someone dared to stand in front of him. Get lost. Lu Ming said coldly. What? Wan Xing was stunned. And then he became furious. In this coliseum, there was actually someone who dared to tell him to get lost. He was courting death, simply courting death. Little bastard, I'll kill you. Wan Xing bellowed angrily, and attacked Lu Ming with his palm. However, Lu Ming waved his hand. Pa! A crisp sound reverberated throughout the entire area. Wan Xing was vulnerable in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming easily dispersed his attack and slapped him in the face. Wan Xing spun 81 times in the air. His face was as swollen as a pig's head. He looked at Lu Ming with a dumbfounded expression. He only reacted after a long while. Wan Xing screamed, Buzz! 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 Instantly, figures flew out from all directions of the arena. There were men and women among these figures. All of them were wearing iron armor, and they surrounded Lu Ming. Brat, you dare to hit young Master Wan? I think you're tired of living. Kneel down and surrender. One of the burly men strode forward and slapped Lu Ming. This person's cultivation was at the 4th level celestial deity realm, and he thought that he was more than enough to take down Lu Ming. Brother Wu, where are Qiu Yu and Lady Yu? Where are you? Are you alright? At that moment, Lu Ming was communicating quickly with Wu Zifeng. They're all fine. They've been locked up in this coliseum. As long as we break through this coliseum, we can save them. Wu Zifeng quickly sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Very good. Lu Ming's eyes flickered with a cold killing intent. You brought this on yourself, you can't live kill. Lu Ming shouted coldly and threw a punch. A 9-clawed divine dragon emerged and charged toward the burly man. That 4th level celestial deity burly man didn't even let out a miserable cry before his body exploded, his soul scattering. The others were stunned. You dare to kill a Magic City guard? How audacious. Let's attack together. There were at least dozens of Shanghai guards in the surroundings. They roared at the same time. Divine power of various colors surged wildly and launched an attack on Lu Ming. The demonic city guards were the guards of the demonic city, and they were much stronger than the general demon guards of the general demon city. Even the weakest of the Magic City guards was at the 3rd level of the celestial deity realm. A layer of ice armor appeared on the armored man's body with a shocking chill. Buzz! Lu Ming rushed out, his palm like a knife, and with a slash, the armored man's right hand was cut off. The armored man wanted to cut off Lu Ming's right hand. However, after exchanging a few moves, his right hand was cut off by Lu Ming. At the scene, the others were so shocked that they couldn't speak. Lu Ming was only a 3rd level celestial deity, but he had defeated a 9th level celestial deity in a few moves. This was simply unbelievable. Wan Xing was so scared that his face turned pale. All Evil's eyes were also filled with shock. Demon Lord, save me. At this moment, the armored man was terrified and shouted for help. If you want to cripple me, you must be prepared to be killed by me. Lu Ming said coldly. He condensed a combat sword with divine power in his hand. Brat, you dare! 10,000 Evils shouted. Laughable, Lu Ming sneered. He swung his combat sword and killed the armored man. A 9th level celestial deity existence was a peak expert in Magic City Mountain. But he was killed just like that. You're looking for death. 10,000 Evil was furious, and a violent aura rushed out of his body. Boom! The body of all evil glowed with silver light, as a terrifying pressure spread in all directions. The aura of all evil was much stronger than that of the armored man. This was the aura of a half-step divine king. His divine power was strong and shocking. "Brat, I'm going to crush you. Silver claw hand." Evil bellowed, and his entire body turned silver. His claws were like metal as he clawed at Lu Ming. The force whistled. Before it reached Lu Ming, the force was so oppressive that he had difficulty breathing. Lu Ming's gaze also froze. A half-step divine king was indeed much stronger than a 9th-level heavenly god. Ancient god tactic. Without hesitation, Lu Ming used the ancient god tactic at full force and turned into a green-armored ancient god. Break the sky. Transforming into a green-armored ancient god, Lu Ming thrust his spear forward. Boom! The dazzling spear radiance and the evil silver claw collided with each other, creating a terrifying explosion. At the same time, countless tiny spear radiances and chi flew out in all directions. Not good, let's go. Let's go. Countless people in the surrounding stands turned pale with fright and fled in all directions. However, when the chi landed, many people screamed as they were killed by the chi. Boom! Boom! The grandstand of the Colosseum was constantly rumbling, and a large pit was created. Cracks appeared on the ground. Through these large pits and cracks, one could see that there was a huge underground space beneath the Colosseum. The ground had been completely excavated, forming a huge secret chamber that imprisoned countless desolate beasts and fiend slaves. Countless spectators fled in all directions. Many of them flew up into the sky. It was a mess. In the sky, Lu Ming and all evil were still in a stalemate. Boom! Boom! The two of them exchanged a few more moves. In the end, Lu Ming gained the upper hand and defeated all evil's silver claw in one fell swoop. All evil's body shook violently and was sent flying. Lu Ming did not give chase. He twisted his body and rushed underground instead. Boom! Lu Ming's spear swept out and hit the ground. The ground burst out with a terrifying roar and collapsed continuously. The vast underground space was completely exposed. Some of the secret rooms crumbled, and some wild beasts rushed out. Roar! Roar! Many desolate beasts with huge bodies howled towards the sky and charged out of the shackles, charging into the sky. Set up the formation. All evil roared. More than 500 demon city guards set up a great formation in the sky. The formation activated, and countless beams of divine light shot toward the wild beasts. Many of the wild beasts were pierced by the divine light and died on the spot. Brother Wu, where are Qiu Yu and the others? Take me there. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Wu Zifeng. Follow me. Wu Zifeng shouted and rushed toward a crack in the ground. Lu Ming followed closely behind and flew into the underground space. Originally, the underground space of the Colosseum had been guarded by many Magic City guards. However, now that the Magic City guards had all gone out, there was no obstruction in the underground space. The underground space was huge and divided into 7 levels. According to Wu Zifeng, they were locked up on the 5th floor. The two of them headed straight for the 5th level. However, wherever Lu Ming passed by, he would make a move and blast open the secret chambers to release the desolate beasts and demonic slaves inside. Let's just wait for the battle to start, in case these demonic city guards come back. On the other side, 2 figures appeared. They were Wu Shui and the woman with the snake wrapped around her arm. The one who had just spoken was Wu Shui. That's right. Let's wait. This time, I must get a Demon Master token. Pei Lin muttered, his eyes flashing with killing intent. In the nearby buildings, figures flickered. Besides Wu Shui, Pei Lin and the others, there were also some other heaven's favorites. These people seemed to have a common purpose, and they were waiting quietly. In the Colosseum, Lu Ming and Wu Zifeng reached the 5th level without a hitch. In a secret chamber, he saw Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong. The two of them looked haggard. Magic City Mountain shall be destroyed. Seeing Qiu Yu's haggard face, Lu Ming's eyes flickered with a shocking murderous intent. Young master, Lu Ming. Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong were overjoyed to see Lu Ming. Qiuyu, are you alright? Lu Ming asked. I'm fine. Don't worry, young master. Qiuyu shook her head and smiled. Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. He was relieved to see that Qiuyu and Yu Linglong were fine. Let's go, we'll charge out, Lu Ming said. Then he rushed out with Qiuyu and the rest. Outside it was a complete mess. The demonic slaves and desolate beasts charged forward, while all evil and the demon capital guards set up a large formation to kill the demonic slaves and desolate beasts. The huge coliseum was filled with blood and qi, making it look like hell on earth. That brat, it's that brat. He's trying to save someone and leave. Wan Xing was hiding behind evildoer and was scanning the area. He noticed Lu Ming and Qiuyu the moment they came out. But then again, Lu Ming was in his ancient god body state. It would be difficult for him not to attract attention. Don't let that brat escape, kill him. All evil roared and commanded the demonic city guards. Instantly beams of terrifying divine light shot towards Lu Ming. Hide behind me, Lu Ming shouted and protected Qiuyu and the others behind him. He waved his long spear and swept it toward the divine light. Boom, boom, boom. A series of rumbles sounded, and beams of divine light were sent flying by him. Let's go. Lu Ming controlled his divine energy and enveloped Qiuyu and the other two with it. He took them and was about to rush in another direction. He planned to leave this place first and settle this score with Magic City Mountain. If you want to leave, stop him. Don't care about those fiend slaves. This kid is the main culprit. We must kill him. 1,000 evils roared. Following that, the great array formed by all evil and the demonic city guards changed its direction and blasted most of the divine light toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming and the group's path was blocked. Let's go, let's. With that, many of the demonic slaves and wild beasts were free from the blockade. They broke out of the encirclement and flew towards the sky above the Colosseum. You want to leave? All of you stay here. At this time, a cold voice rang out. In the sky, a blood-red blade light suddenly appeared. At least dozens of demonic slaves were killed by the saber light. A sharp sneer was heard. Pairs of ghostly claws suddenly appeared in the sky and clawed down, killing dozens of demonic slaves. Then, two figures appeared in the sky, exuding a terrifying aura. Demon Lord, it's the Demon Lord. Damn it! Many of the demon slaves shouted in fear. The other two demon masters had arrived at Demon Capital Mountain. At the same time, a stream of light flew over from behind. The other Shanghai guards were also rushing over. Rush out, let's rush out together. Otherwise, when those Shanghai guards arrive, we'll all die. A fiend slave roared. Kill them all. Charge. Many demonic slaves and desolate beasts charged into the sky. You're looking for death. The two demon masters shouted at the same time and attacked together. The blood-red blade light and the pitch-black ghostly claw reappeared in the void. The cultivation of the fiend master was too strong. He completely suppressed these desolate beasts and fiend slaves. Screams filled the air as large numbers of demonic slaves and desolate beasts' corpses fell to the ground. After a while, the demonic city guards arrived. The battle was one-sided, and it became a massacre. On the other side, Lu Ming's path was also blocked. Get lost! Lu Ming let out a long howl. His long spear grew to a few hundred meters long and swept out continuously. The divine lights were blasted away. However, the combined power of all evil and the 500 demonic city guards was truly astonishing. Lu Ming continued to attack, but he was still firmly held back. If he were to face this move alone, he would be seriously injured even if he did not die. On the other side, the other two demon masters were also extremely shocked when they saw this scene. That brat is evil, he'll bring people to help evil. One of the demon masters, who looked like an old man, said. He led over 1,000 demon city guards and charged towards the Myriad fiend demon lord. Set up the formation. The elder-looking demon master gave the order. Immediately, thousands of demonic city guards formed a new formation. Divine power surged, and a divine light blasted toward Lu Ming. Fortunately, Lu Ming's divine energy was abundant. He turned his long spear and launched a terrifying attack. It collided with the divine light and his body was forced to retreat 100 meters. Kill this brat. All Evil roared. At this moment, he no longer wanted to capture Lu Ming alive. He only wanted to kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming's combat strength was too terrifying, and it made him tremble with fear. The two demon masters, and the two great formations of the demonic city's defense, launched a series of attacks on Lu Ming. Divine Power Dharma Form, Ice Chains, 9-layered crimson gold armor, 3 world-ending strikes. Lu Ming's body glowed continuously. He cast all his divine skills and secret skills to fight against his opponent. With the power of the ancient god body, and his terrifying defense, he managed to resist the attack. This brat is only a 3rd-level celestial deity. How could he have such terrifying strength? Furthermore, what was going on with his Shen power? Why does it seem like we can't finish it? All Evil, the old-looking demon master, and even many of the demon capital guards were unable to calm down. They were all extremely shocked. If it was anyone else, they would have run out of divine power in such a confrontation. However, Lu Ming was able to maintain each of his moves at its peak and unleash its strongest power. Dragon Cave, ignore the fiend slaves and kill this brat. Infinite Evil roared. Of course, he was shouting at the demon master who looked like a middle-aged man. All right, the Dragon Cave's gaze let go of the demonic slaves, and led the remaining 1,000+ demonic city guards towards Wuxia and the others. Let's set up a formation together, and form a large formation, Dragon Cave said. In an instant, All Evil, Dragon Cave, and the other 2 demon kings led the 2,500 or so demon city guards, and their figures flickered as they merged together to form an even larger demon city guard formation. This way, the power was even more shocking. Whoosh! A beam of light, huge and boundless, shot towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's spear swept out and collided with the light pillar. At that moment, Lu Ming felt a violent force rushing at him. His body trembled, and he retreated continuously. The power of the formation formed by 3 great demon kings and 2,500 demonic city guards was too strong. It had completely surpassed Lu Ming's. Kill this bastard. At the side, Wan Xing roared loudly, extremely excited. He was so jealous of Lu Ming's talent that he could not wait to kill him. Kill! The array was activated again, and Lu Ming was forced to retreat. At this moment, outside the city lord's mansion, it seems that they've already started fighting. Let's make our move, the witch blood said. Do it. Pei Lin was very direct. He turned into a blade light and charged towards the city lord's mansion. Slash die. Pei Lin shouted and slashed down. A huge blade light, thousands of miles long, enveloped the entire city lord's mansion and was about to split it in half. But at this time, a giant stick rose up from the city lord's mansion and hit the blade light. The blade light, which was thousands of miles long, was shattered. I knew that you people didn't have good intentions. A deep voice was heard. Then, a burly figure rushed out of the city lord's mansion and stood in the air. It was an ape man who was 5 meters tall and covered in black hair. He held a black iron rod in his hand and emitted a shocking aura. It was the chi of a half-step divine king. You're one of the 9 great demon kings, Pei Lin said coldly. Not bad, the ape said. Just in time. After killing you, I can complete my mission. Pei Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent as he activated his divine power. He took a step forward and charged towards the ape man. The terrifying blade light seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth. I'd like to see how strong a genius who can control divine-grade divine power is. The ape man waved his iron staff and charged at Pei Lin. The two of them fought head-on and exchanged blows continuously. For a while, there was no clear winner. However, Pei Lin seemed to be at a disadvantage. The half-step divine king was extremely powerful, and his divine power was extremely dense. Although Pei Lin was a divine son, he was only an 8th-level heavenly god after all. However, it would not be easy for the other party to win. Kill! At this moment, Wu Shui, Su Mu, and the others all rushed out and attacked the city master's mansion. Chapter 2964 Four Great Geniuses. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. Wu Shui, Su Mu, and the others also rushed to the city master's mansion. However, a powerful aura also burst out from the city master's mansion. Boom! Boom! Figures rushed out one after another, forcing Wuxia and the others to retreat. Devil Lord! Wuxia's eyes focused on the figure in front of him, including the ape-man from before. There were a total of 6 figures. Their auras were extremely thick, and their divine power erupted like a volcano. All 6 of them were half-step divine kings, the other 6 of the 9 great devil kings. In addition to the 3 great demon kings of the Colosseum, the 9 great demon kings of the demon capital were all present. As expected, you foreign heaven's favorites don't have good intentions in coming to Shanghai. One of the demon masters said coldly. It's too late to know now. Wuxia said gloomily. Too late. Hee, you want to act so atrociously in Shanghai. Today, all of you shall stay here. One of the demon masters said coldly, his voice filled with cold killing intent. As soon as he finished speaking, a group of people rushed out of the city lord's mansion. All of them were magic city guards in iron armor, and there were nearly 5,000 of them. It was said that there were 8,000 magic city guards in Magic City, and almost all of them, except for the Colosseum, were present. The combined aura of the 6 great devil kings and nearly 5,000 demonic city guards was truly terrifying. Like the ocean waves, they surged towards Wuxia and the others one after another, forcing them to retreat. It was obvious that the city lord's mansion of Shanghai had already made preparations. Everyone's here very good. At this time, a cold voice suddenly rang out in the void. Then, a sword light suddenly descended from the sky and charged towards the group of Shanghai guards. This sword light was astonishingly fast, and it disappeared in a flash. Not good, quickly retreat. One of the demon masters shouted, but it was too late. Uft! Blood splattered everywhere as the sword light flashed. At least 100 demonic city guards were killed. Their bodies were cut in half, and their souls were obliterated by the terrifying sword chi. In the next moment, a black-robed young man appeared in the sky, standing with a sword in his hand. This is 9th level celestial deity realm. A demon master cried out in alarm, his expression grave. Clearly, the black-robed youth was not an ordinary 9th level celestial deity, but a 9th level celestial deity who controlled divine-grade divine power. Back then, during the great battle in Demonic City, such a character did not appear at all. Ha ha ha, the Demon King token, I want it. At this time, a loud laugh came from a building not far away. Then a golden light flashed, and a burly figure appeared in the sky. His entire body was covered in golden divine light. This was also a young man whose cultivation had reached the 9th level celestial deity realm. The Demon King's token is mine. A deep voice sounded. Another young man came from another direction. The aura that this person emitted was shockingly also 9th level celestial deity. The 6 demon kings' faces turned ugly. They didn't expect so many terrifying heaven's favorites to enter Demonic City. During the Demonic City War, these heaven's favorites didn't appear. This caused them to underestimate the strength of the heaven's favorites from outside. However, Wuxia and the others looked very calm. It was obvious that they had known about the existence of these heaven's favorites. Clang! Clang! Pei Lin and the ape-man were still fighting, but Pei Lin was gradually losing. Do it, or else things will change. The young man who was covered in golden light said. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure turned into a golden light and charged towards the city lord's mansion. Set up the formation. A demon king roared, summoning the demon capital guards to set up a large formation. However, at this moment, a black fog suddenly appeared in the sky above the city lord's mansion. The fog instantly enveloped the 5,000 demonic city guards and the 6 demon kings. Ah! Some of the Shanghai guards held onto their heads and screamed in pain. After a while, some of the Shanghai guards fell to the ground and stopped breathing. Even those with higher cultivation had pained expressions on their faces. This mist can harm the soul. Leave this place. One of the demon masters roared as he charged out, wanting to leave this place. Stay here. A cold voice was heard. The black-robed young man with a long sword in his hand charged toward the demon master. The demon master bellowed and launched an attack to block it. However, after a flash of sword light, the demon master retreated. A deep wound appeared on his body and blood flowed out. The demon master's eyes were filled with shock. Although he was a half-step divine king, he was no match for the black-robed young man, especially when he was surrounded by the mist and his soul was injured. Kill! The black-robed youth coldly snorted as he continued to attack. He seemed to be unafraid of the mist. Senior brother has made his move. Kill, kill! Wu Shui's face lit up with joy as she charged over as well. At the same time, the other young men also made their moves and charged at the Shanghai guards. These young men were clearly well prepared. They weren't afraid of the mist and could maintain their combat strength at their peak. As for the demonic city guards, their souls had been injured by the mist and their strength had been greatly reduced. They weren't a match at all. As soon as the two sides exchanged blows, a large number of Shanghai guards were killed. Only breakthrough. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. In the intense battle at the City Lord's mansion, the foreign heavens favorites had the upper hand. In the arena, Lu Ming was at a complete disadvantage. The three great demon masters and 2,500 demonic city guards set up a great formation. Beams of divine light were triggered and blasted toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming protected Qiu Yu and the other two as he retreated. At this moment, the green scales on his body were cracked in many places, and blood was flowing out. Young master. Qiu Yu's eyes were filled with tears. She gritted her teeth and made a move, wanting to share some of the pressure with Lu Ming. However, although Qiu Yu's current cultivation had reached the second-tier celestial god realm, she had not cultivated many other divine powers. Her combat strength was far inferior to Lu Ming's, and she could not play a critical role. Instead, she was injured by the backlash. Qiu Yu, don't attack! Lu Ming shouted. Young master. Qiu Yu's eyes were filled with tears. Haha, brat, go to hell! Wan Xing stood in the distance and laughed loudly. His eyes swept across Qiu Yu and Yu Linglong, and his gaze flickered with a scorching flame. I didn't expect you to have two such beautiful girls by your side. How come I didn't notice them before? What a pity. But it doesn't matter. After I kill you, I'll love them well. Ha ha. Wan Xing laughed madly, his face full of ferocity and desire. Wan Xing, I will definitely kill you. Lu Ming shouted coldly. You're still daydreaming about killing me. Wan Xing ridiculed and was arrogant. He was not afraid at all. At this moment, divine light shot up into the sky from the city lord's mansion, and a terrifying tremor came. They could see everything clearly. Not good. There's a huge battle at the city lord's mansion. The demon master's expressions changed drastically. Damn it, it's those foreign heavens favorites. These guys are definitely in cahoots. They're trying to split our strength. Dragon Cave shouted angrily. What? Lu Ming had also noticed the situation at the city lord's residence, and was rather surprised. He didn't expect that the foreign heavens favorites would attack the city lord's mansion. It seems that the paragons from the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion didn't come to demonic city just for Mo Yechuan. Lu Ming pondered. Attack with all your might and kill this brat. Well, go and support the city lord's mansion. At this moment all evil roared. All right, attack with all your might and kill him. Full force. The other two demon masters also nodded and gave the order. Immediately, the 3 great demon kings and 2,500 demon city guards madly circulated their divine power and blasted out their divine power as if it was free. Then a huge beam of light, like a huge divine sword, slashed at Lu Ming. The power of this divine sword had reached its peak. Lu Ming's pupils contracted sharply. He felt a fatal crisis. However, he, Qiu Yu, and the others were surrounded by the formation and had no way to escape. They could only fight. Block it, I must block it. Lu Ming growled in his heart and unleashed his full power. Roar! Roar! A dragon's roar was heard, and the 7 9-clawed divine dragons rushed out first. Immediately after, 9 ice chains appeared. Boom! 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 The huge divine light formed a sword and slashed down. The 7 9-clawed divine dragons exploded one by one. Then the 9 ice chains also exploded. However, This had more or less blocked some of the power of the combat sword. In the end, Lu Ming waved his long spear and blocked in front of him. Boom! Lu Ming's body trembled violently when the combat sword hit the long spear. He could not even stand in the air. His body, which was hundreds of meters tall, fell down to the fighting ring below. The fighting ring of the Colosseum was made of special materials and was extremely hard. Even the strong chi from the previous battle did not break the fighting ring. However, this time, Lu Ming landed heavily on the fighting ring. The fighting ring rumbled violently, and cracks appeared on it. Lu Ming's body bent, and he almost knelt down. "Block it!" Lu Ming roared. He used all his divine power and divine Bodhi's power to resist the attack, and did not kneel down. However, the huge sword had a steady stream of power that blasted down. Lu Ming's body trembled as if he was carrying a majestic divine mountain. This kid! Evil and the others felt their hearts twitch as they gasped. They had already used their strongest move, and wanted to kill Lu Ming in one move. They did not expect that Lu Ming would be able to withstand it. "Continue, kill him!" 1,000 evils roared. Then, the 3 demon masters, and more than 2,500 demonic city guards, circulated their divine power madly. The divine power gathered and gushed toward the combat sword, pressing down on Lu Ming. Boom! The fighting ring under Lu Ming's feet exploded with a loud bang, and fragments flew everywhere. Lu Ming's body bent slightly, but he roared and resisted it. More blood flowed out of the wounds on his body. "Young master!" Lu Ming, Qiu Yu Yulinglong, and Wu Zifeng were extremely anxious. They wanted to intervene, but with their cultivation, they couldn't do much. "I can't go on like this. If this continues, I won't be able to hold on any longer." Lu Ming's mind was racing. If this continued, the 4 of them would die here if he couldn't hold on any longer. In fact, the consequences would be worse than death. Right now, the only way is to break through. Lu Ming had an idea. Now there were only 2 ways. One of them was to burn his ancient god heart, and the other was to break through. However, after the ancient god's heart was burned, his ancient god body would be completely destroyed. Chapter 2965 Breakthrough. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. From the quantity formula, a surge of energy gushed into Lu Ming's body. This surge of energy was extremely violent. It was many times stronger than the energy from a volcanic eruption. It was hot, extremely hot. The searing energy was like a tsunami, crashing into Lu Ming's body. Pft, pft. Lu Ming's body trembled violently. He already had some injuries on his body. After being hit by this energy, his injuries were further aggravated. Get up there!" Lu Ming roared loudly. He controlled the energy, and directed it to flow along his arm, and into the long spear. Buzz! The long spear vibrated, forming a rebound force that actually lifted the opponent's combat sword a little. Lu Ming took the opportunity to stand up straight. This kid, how can he still burst out with power? The people from the Dragon Cave were not only shocked, they were even a little frightened. Then, he activated his divine power even more crazily. This time he had to kill Lu Ming. Otherwise, Magic City Mountain would be destroyed. Refine, refine. At this moment, Lu Ming was circulating the universe thousand Tao scripture with all his might, refining the energy in his body. However, the energy of the star core had not been refined by the measure formula. It was very difficult to absorb it. Compared to the energy that had been refined, it was a world of difference. However, Lu Ming could not care about that now. He kept circulating his cultivation technique to absorb this energy and use it to break through to the next realm. Not only was the speed of absorption slow, but it was also impure. Even if Lu Ming had a breakthrough in his cultivation, his foundation would be unstable. But he couldn't care about that now. If his foundation was unstable, so be it. At most, he would spend more time to polish his foundation. Boom, boom, boom. The violent energy was rampaging in Lu Ming's body. It was unusually overbearing. If it was an ordinary third-level heavenly deity, no, not to mention third-level heavenly deity, even if it was a ninth-level heavenly deity, the divine body would probably explode from this energy. However, Lu Ming's divine body was no ordinary divine body. After he had condensed the ancient god's heart, his divine body could be tempered at any time, and he would become stronger day by day. Moreover, he had transformed into a green-armored ancient god, and his divine body was even more powerful. He was able to block the energy. It's not enough. Old Liang, release more energy. Lu Ming roared. Also, little brat, you have to act within your means. The quantity formula expressed his concern. I know, come. Lu Ming said. That brat, get ready. As soon as he finished speaking, another wave of energy rushed out. This energy was even more violent and scorching than before. At this moment, Lu Ming's body turned red. Even the green armor on his skin turned fiery red. His body was like a balloon swelling up. The blood on the wound spurted out like it was free. Whoa, old Liang. You're spitting out too much energy. Are you trying to stuff me to death? Lu Ming screamed in pain. You were the one who asked for it. I've already reminded you. The quantity formula said. Lu Ming was helpless. He could only clench his teeth and circulate the universe thousand Tao scripture frantically to absorb this energy. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming's body rumbled, as if a volcano was constantly erupting. His cultivation level was also rising rapidly. Peak 3rd level celestial deity. Then towards 4th level celestial deity, it launched an assault. Boom, boom. Lu Ming's body continued to rumble. With each rumble, Lu Ming's body trembled, and more blood flowed out of his wounds. Lu Ming was bathed in blood, and looked as if he would collapse at any moment. However, he managed to withstand the other party's attack. This kid is strange. Fight. Well, fight too. Die. Evil roared. He did not know why, but he had a bad feeling in his heart. He felt that if Lu Ming did not die today, he would be the one to die. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness as the Shen power in his body started to burn. All evil burned his divine power, and his strength increased dramatically. The power of the swords formed by the formation also increased. Lu Ming's body trembled, and he almost failed to block it. You too, burn your Shen power together and kill this kid. Evil looked at Dragon Cave and the other demon master. However, the Dragon Cave and the other demon master hesitated. Burning Shen power was very harmful to the body. Even if it was a normal person, burning Shen power would cause their vitality to be greatly damaged or their cultivation to fall. The half-step Divine King realm was even more special. This realm was the realm of condensing the star core. The star core was about to be condensed but not condensed. It was the most critical moment. If he burned his divine power at this time, his cultivation would fall back to the 9th level heavenly god realm. If he made a mistake, he might not even have the chance to charge towards the God King realm in the future. It wasn't easy to cultivate to this level, so they wouldn't easily burn it. This kid can't hold on for much longer. Let's hold on a little longer, and we'll be the ones to win. Dragon Cave said. He refused to burn his Shen power. You guys, evildoer was helpless. He could only burn his divine power with all his might. He even threatened some of the Shanghai guards to burn their divine power to press down on Lu Ming. Soon. At this moment, Lu Ming could already sense the 4th level celestial deity barrier, and was launching a violent attack. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, after more than a dozen attacks. Boom! A deafening explosion erupted from within Lu Ming's body. Chapter 2966 Backing. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. Boom. The spear radiance exploded like a planet, forming a terrifying energy storm that swept towards evil and the others. Bang! The swords formed by evil's formation trembled violently and buzzed before exploding into countless shockwaves that were reflected back at evil, Dragon Cave, and the others. Boom! 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 This energy was too powerful. As it rushed out, a large number of Shanghai guards didn't even have time to react before their bodies exploded and their souls scattered. At least 300 demonic city guards had died under this move, and the entire formation had been scattered. As soon as the formation was opened, the power of the three great demon kings, and the demon capital guards was scattered. Lu Ming would not miss such an opportunity. Bang! He stomped on the ground and his body, which was a few hundred meters tall, shot up. The divine power that had been stored in the quantity formula surged into Lu Ming's body and was drawn out along his arms. Kill! Lu Ming let out a long howl and swept out with his spear. The huge long spear was thousands of miles long, and it enveloped a large number of Shanghai guards. Bang! Bang! One by one, the Shanghai guards exploded in the air like rotten tomatoes, blood splattering everywhere. This spear attack had killed at least 500 Magic City guards. Damn it, damn it, damn it! Dragon Cave and the other two demon masters roared in their hearts, unable to remain calm. At this moment, apart from all evil, the other two demon masters were filled with regret. If they had known that Lu Ming was so terrifying, they would have listened to all evil and burned their divine power to kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. However, it was too late to regret now. Kill! Lu Ming fixed his eyes on the three demon masters. He thrust his long spear at the demon master of the Dragon Cave, who was the closest to him. The spear light was like a shooting star, instantly approaching the demon lord of the Dragon Cave. Not good. The demon lord of the Dragon Cave was shocked. He quickly waved his hands and used his strongest move to block. However, when Lu Ming was a third-tier celestial god, his strength was already enough to suppress a half-step divine king demon master. Now that he had broken through to the fourth-tier celestial god realm, his combat strength was even more overwhelming. Boom! The spear radiance pierced through the attack of the demon lord of the Dragon Cave and continued to stab toward him. Pft! The demon lord of the Dragon Cave was pierced by the spear light, leaving a bloody hole. The Dragon Cave's demon lord screamed as his body was sent flying. He had been severely injured. Die! Lu Ming did not give the demon lord of the Dragon Cave any chance. Lu Ming, there's something that you probably don't know. My Magic City Mountain has a backer in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion. He's a real big shot. If you kill us, the big shot of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion won't let you off. Evil said coldly. The backer behind Magic City Mountain? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. As long as he knew who the backer behind Magic City Mountain was, it was possible to find out who the traitor of 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion was. Tell me, who is the backer of your Magic City Mountain? Or which force is it? Lu Ming asked coldly. Do you want to know who our backer is? You just need to know that we have a backer behind us, a backer that you can't afford to offend. Otherwise, how could a treasure like the Demon Knight Spring have survived until now? Evil sneered and threatened Lu Ming. You don't want to tell me? Then I'll search for it myself. Lu Ming was not afraid of threats. After he finished speaking, he waved his long spear and swept it towards Evil. All Evil was shocked. He did not expect that Lu Ming would not be threatened at all. He could only resist with all his might. However, he had been burning his divine power for so long, and his divine power was severely depleted. He had only exchanged a few blows with Lu Ming before his divine power was completely depleted. Bang! Lu Ming's spear struck Evil's body. The lower half of Evil's body exploded, leaving only the upper half floating in the air, its aura dispirited. Then, Lu Ming stretched out his hand and grabbed at the void. A suction force was produced, and Wan Xing was caught in his hand. In Lu Ming's hands, Wan Xing was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. He could not put up any resistance, and could only scream in pain. Don't kill me! Father, save me. I don't want to die. Wan Xing's face was covered in snot and tears. He was so scared that he even peed himself. When he killed others, he didn't even blink. He was even very excited. When it was his turn, he was more afraid than anyone else. Don't kill him! 1,000 evils roared. Tell me who's the backer of Magic City Mountain, and I'll consider letting him go, Lu Ming said. Chapter 2967 9 Great Demon Kings. All annihilated. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. Lu Ming threatened all evil, wanting him to tell him Who was the backer behind Magic City Mountain? I don't know. I don't know who's the backer behind Magic City Mountain. I only know that there's a backer behind Magic City Mountain. 1,000 evils roared. You still dare to trick me? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He exerted force in his palm. Wan Xing screamed in pain as his body exploded continuously. I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to kill you. All evil roared angrily and mustered all its remaining strength to charge at Lu Ming. I'll send you on your way, Lu Ming said coldly. He exerted force in his palm, and Wan Xing exploded completely, his soul scattered. At the same time, Lu Ming cast the moon-splitting move. A crescent-shaped spear ray flashed and disappeared. When the spear's radiance disappeared, all evil disappeared as well. Lu Ming did not show any mercy to people like Wan Xing who were evil. The father and son duo had committed all sorts of evil deeds. They controlled the Colosseum and committed all sorts of crimes. In all these years, countless people had died at their hands. Lu Ming did not search all evil's soul as there was no need to. He threatened him with Wan Xing. Since the other party said that he did not know, he should really not know. With a wave of his hand, he kept the loathsome storage ring. Then his figure flashed, and he returned to the spirit beast arena. At this moment, almost all the demonic city guards in the Colosseum had run away. Only that young man was still fighting with another demon master. Although the demon master had the upper hand, the young man was fighting with no regard for his life. He kept the demon master busy, and didn't care even if he was injured. At that moment, the demon master was almost scared to death when he saw Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming charged over directly. With Lu Ming's participation, the demon master's fate was sealed. It did not take long for him to be killed by Lu Ming. This brother, thank you for saving me this time. The young man cupped his fists at Lu Ming, his face full of gratitude. You're welcome, it was just a passing move. Lu Ming smiled. With a wave of his hand, he kept the demon master's storage ring. You're also a heaven's favorite from the outside world, right? I'm really curious, why are there so many people here this time? Lu Ming looked at the young man. What are you saying? We came to Magic City Mountain this time to complete a mission. The young man said. Mission? Lu Ming was stunned. This was indeed unexpected. Don't tell me you're here to complete the mission from the Star Sky Battalion? The Universal Camp is starting to recruit new students again? At this time, Wu Zifeng suddenly spoke. Previously, Lu Ming had brought Qiuyu, Wu Zifeng, and Yu Linglong with him. The three of them were right beside him. You know, the young man was stunned and looked at Wu Zifeng. This one is Wu Zifeng. Wu Zifeng cupped his fists. So you're a disciple of the Wu family. No wonder. Im Yangshi. You're right. This is indeed a mission given to us by the Universal Camp. If you want to join the Universal Camp, you have to go through an assessment. This time, our assessment is to obtain the Demon Lord's token and the Demon King's token of the Demon Capital Mountain. Demon Capital Mountain's Demon Lord and Demon King. They all have a token that symbolizes their identity. Only by obtaining the Demon Capital Mountain's Demon Lord and Demon King token can one join the Universal Camp. The young man explained. The Universal Camp? Lu Ming was confused. Brother Lu, the Universal Camp is the gathering place for the paragons of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion's army. Almost all of the strongest paragons of the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion are gathered in the Universal Camp. Wu Zifeng explained. Oh, I see. Is the cultivation environment in the Star Sky Camp that good? There are so many paragons in the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion, and they're all gathered there? Lu Ming was curious. The cultivation environment is one thing. The main thing is that only by joining the Universal Camp can one be recommended to cultivate in the core holy cultivation ground of the Great Void Holy Dynasty. If one wants to rise in the Great Void Holy Dynasty and take up a high position, this is something that cannot be avoided. Wu Zifeng explained. Lu Ming understood. This was a little like the imperial examination in the mortal world. One had to take one step at a time according to the rules and procedures before one could ascend to a high position. Lu Ming looked in the direction of the City Lord's residence. He finally knew why these elites had suddenly attacked the City Lord's mansion. It was because of the Demon Lord and Demon King tokens. This time, Lu Ming made the first move. He was like a fuse that ignited the battle. In fact, even if he did not make a move, those prodigies would find an opportunity to make a move. You guys stay here, I'll go take a look. After Lu Ming finished speaking, his body shrank and returned to his normal form. As his cultivation level increased, his divine body became stronger and stronger. The time he could take to transform into an ancient god body also became longer. This was the benefit of having abundant physical strength. Young master, be careful. Qiuyu reminded. Don't worry. Lu Ming smiled and flew in the direction of the city lord's residence. Qiuyu and the others didn't follow, neither did Yang Shi. He had been injured and needed time to heal. Very soon, Lu Ming arrived near the city master's residence. However, he didn't make a move. Instead, he found a hidden place nearby and hid. Then he took out a divine pill and swallowed it. This kind of divine pill could recover one's strength. Moreover, Lu Ming was injured previously and needed time to recuperate. There might be a huge battle to fight later on. This matter was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. In this case, it was almost impossible to protect Magic City Mountain, and it would be destroyed. If Lu Ming wanted to find out which force the Dark Ice race and the 9 Absolute Heavenly King Mansion were colluding with, he could only rely on the Dark Night Devil King. Lu Ming was waiting for the Night Demon King to appear. In the sky above the City Lord's mansion, the battle was unusually brutal. Demonic city guards were constantly killed, and their corpses fell to the ground. The City Lord's mansion was covered with the corpses of the Shanghai guards. The remaining 4 demon masters were also suppressed by the 4 9th-level celestial deities, and were in a precarious situation. I'll fight it out with you guys. Die. A demon master roared angrily. The divine power in his body started to burn as he fought fiercely with the 9th-level celestial deity. At the same time, the other 3 demon masters also gritted their teeth and burned their divine power to charge forward with all their might, trying to escape. You want to escape? Dream on. The 4 9th-level heavenly deity Heaven's favorites shouted coldly. They didn't seek to gain any merits, but they wanted to avoid any mistakes. They changed their strategy and only held the other party back tightly, no longer taking the initiative to attack. There was a time limit to burning Shin power. Soon, their Shin power would be used up, and they would be at their mercy. Sure enough, not long after, the auras of the 4 demon masters rapidly declined. Buzz! The sound of the sword was deafening. The black-robed young man slashed his sword across the sky and killed a demon master. Die! The young man, who was covered in golden light, killed a demon master with one palm. Wu Shui's senior brother, the blood-robed young man, had also killed a demon master. Demon King, Demon King! The last demon master roared madly, his face full of unwillingness. However, before he could finish his words, he was also killed. At this point, the 9 great demon masters of Demonic City were all exterminated. Chapter 2970 Universal Camp. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. You want to kill me with your strength? You're the one who will die today. Lu Ming sneered and charged at the blood-robed young man with his spear. However, at this moment, the other young heaven's favorites made their move. All sorts of attacks were directed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He shook his long spear and shot out more than a dozen spearlights at the paragons. However, Lu Ming had now broken through to the 4th-level celestial deity realm, and his strength was at its peak. As for the blood-robed youth and the rest, they had suffered some injuries from the Night Demon King's self-destruction of half of its star core. Therefore, even if they joined forces, they were not Lu Ming's match. The spear radiance was dazzling and sharp. It pierced through the attacks of the blood-robed youth and the others. The blood-robed youth and the others trembled and retreated. "You want to kill me with your strength?" A mocking voice came out of Lu Ming's mouth. He held his spear and charged forward. The long spear shook and a huge spear ray swept out. The blood-robed young man and the others looked ghastly. They shouted angrily, and each of them used their unique skills. However, they were not Lu Ming's match and were forced to retreat. Damn it! How can this kid's strength be so shocking? The blood-robed youth and the others roared in their hearts. They were the proud children of heaven from the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. But they had never seen Lu Ming before. Where did Lu Ming come from? Bang! Lu Ming continued to step forward with a violent aura. The expressions of the blood-robed youth and company changed again, and they couldn't help but retreat. Lu Ming advanced while they retreated. They no longer had the courage to fight. In their current situation, even if they fought again, they would still be defeated. Retreat! In the end, the blood-robed young man and the rest were unwilling to give up. They used their movement techniques and drifted backward, distancing themselves from Lu Ming. "Cowards, you still want my storage ring? Get lost!" Lu Ming shouted coldly. The blood-robed youth's expression was extremely unsightly. "Brat, you'll remember what happened today." The blood-robed young man left these words coldly and left in a flash. The other young geniuses also cast a cold glance at Lu Ming. They had no choice but to leave. Not long after, all the heaven's favorites here had left. "Let's search this place," Lu Ming said to Qiuyu, and the rest as his body shrunk. After that, they rushed into the city lord's mansion and started searching to see if they could find any clues. Originally, the majestic and grand city lord's mansion had already collapsed. It was in shambles, and there was not a single person. Spectacular. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. Alright, then I'll join the Universal Camp first. Lu Ming nodded and made his decision. Originally, the purpose of his trip was to go to the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. He came to Magic City Mountain only to check it out first. If he didn't find any clues, he would go to the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion to investigate. "Alright, let's go," Wu Zifeng said. Immediately, the 4 of them left Magic City Mountain. After a long journey, they arrived at the core of Chu Tian Star Field. Then, they took the Inter-Star Field teleportation formation and headed towards the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. Chu Tian Star Field was still a long distance away from the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. Even if they were to travel in a straight line, they were still more than 10 star fields away. How long was this distance? They used nearly a year just to travel. Finally, they arrived at the territory near the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. Then, they boarded the Starry Sky battleship and flew towards the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. Gradually, a huge galaxy appeared in front of Lu Ming and the rest in the universe. Looking at the galaxy, Lu Ming and Qiuyu were stunned. This galaxy actually had 3 stars. Most galaxies were fixed stars, with a star as the core. The other planets would rotate around the star and form a solar system. However, this galaxy had 3 stars. Huge planets were revolving around the 3 stars in a strange orbit. Lu Ming took a glance. There were at least 30 planets revolving around the 3 stars. As the distance between them shortened, a scene that shocked Lu Ming even more appeared. At the periphery of the entire galaxy, the planets were shining with all kinds of light. At the same time, there were many huge objects patrolling around the galaxy. These huge objects gave off an extremely dangerous feeling. Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong's faces were calm, clearly already used to it. These huge objects are all war machines. They are extremely terrifying and can monitor the space around this galaxy. Once they discover an enemy invasion, they will launch a thunderous counterattack. It is said that even peak Divine King existences will be killed, Wu Zifeng explained. Lu Ming gasped in shock. To be able to kill a peak god king, this level of power was truly shocking. Any one of them would be able to crush the Qin Heaven starfield. Let's go in. Well, go to that planet first. Wu Zifeng pointed to a fiery red planet at the outermost part of the galaxy. Lu Ming steered the starry sky warship and flew towards the fiery red planet. Who is it? With a cold shout, a team of strong men in fiery red armor appeared on the periphery of the planet, blocking Lu Ming and the rest's path. The aura that he exuded made Lu Ming and the rest fearful. Divine King. There are Divine King realm existences among them. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. There were 12 men in this group. Lu Ming could sense that at least 3 of them were at the Divine King realm. The other 9 were probably at the peak of the Heavenly God realm. As expected of the 9 absolute Heavenly King manner, they were only the guards at the outermost perimeter. There were many God Kings that appeared casually. Their strength was truly unfathomable. I'm Wu Zifeng, a disciple of the Wu family. These are my friends. Wu Zifeng flew out of the starry sky warship and took out an identity token. They're indeed the Wu family's disciples. Where are they? Have they ever been to the 9 absolute Heavenly King mansion before? If they haven't, you have to leave behind their life aura. A Divine King man said. Yes, Wu Zifeng nodded. On the way, Wu Zifeng had explained the procedure to enter the 9 absolute Heavenly King mansion. Lu Ming was not surprised. He went forward with Qiu Yu and left their life aura on an array disc. After leaving behind their life aura, the strong men in fiery red armor did not stop them and let Lu Ming and the rest enter the planet. After entering the planet, they followed the other direction of the planet and flew towards the core of the galaxy. If one did not pass through this planet and barged in directly from another space in the galaxy, they would be attacked by the war machines. Unless one's cultivation surpassed the God King realm, one would not be able to survive. He flew straight to the core of the star. Not long after, a huge planet appeared in front of him. This planet was the largest in this galaxy. Even from far away, one could feel the surging energy from this planet. There was a halo around each planet. From afar, it was very beautiful. At the same time, Lu Ming could sense that energy was constantly being absorbed by this planet from all directions, even from the universe and the starry sky, and was gathering on this planet. There's a large formation on this planet that can absorb energy from the outside world. Lu Ming muttered. That's right. This planet does have a large array that constantly absorbs the energy of the universe and gathers it on the planet, making the divine qi on the planet extremely rich. Wu Zifeng explained and then smiled. This is the 9 absolute Heavenly King mansion. We've arrived. This is the 9 absolute Heavenly King mansion? The entire planet? Lu Ming was surprised. That's right. The entire planet is the 9 absolute Heavenly King mansion. That's right. Wu Zifeng nodded and explained. The entire planet is covered by a peerless formation. It's like a huge mansion or a city. Lu Ming and Qiu Yu were shocked. This was really a big deal. As the distance between them shortened, Lu Ming finally realized that the entire planet was covered by a huge light shield. However, in different directions of the planet, the light shield would open up a gap, like a door. Qiu awakens. Please continue reading on Oxful. Omicron M. This planet was the 9 absolute Heavenly King mansion. Therefore, there were no cities on this planet. In the vast territory, all kinds of buildings could be built wherever one wanted, and they could cultivate. Lu Ming and the rest were flying at a high altitude. They looked up and realized that the entire planet had mountains, lakes, and rivers. There was everything one could think of. Moreover, there were various buildings in between the mountains, lakes, and rivers. The Wu family's headquarters is on this planet? Lu Ming asked curiously. You can say that, but it's not very accurate. Actually, in the 9 absolute Heavenly King mansion, there are many large aristocratic families with long inheritances, such as our Wu family and the Qin family where Qin Wuyo and the others were born. These big aristocratic families all have powerhouses holding positions in the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. Therefore, their headquarters are all set up on this planet. However, most of the ancestral lands of the macro worlds are not here. They are scattered in different star fields, which are the foundations of the big families. For example, although the Wu family's headquarters is here, our ancestral land is in another star area, where most of the Wu family's powerhouses are gathered. Lu Ming nodded and roughly understood. Not long after, an endless mountain range appeared before their eyes. There were countless buildings built on these mountains, and one could not see the end of them. This was the Wu family's headquarters in the 9 absolute heavenly king mansion. Let's go, you guys can stay at the Wu residence for now, Wu Zifeng said. Everyone flew forward. Third young master. Greetings, third young master. On the way, many people saluted Wu Zifeng. Although Wu Zifeng's cultivation was not very high, he was the son of the current Wu family's patriarch, so his status was very high. After entering the Wu family, Wu Zifeng arranged a courtyard for Lu Ming and Qiu Yu to stay in. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and Qiu Yu had been at the Wu family for 3 days. On this day, Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong went to look for Lu Ming. Brother Lu, I have a favor to ask of you, Wu Zifeng said. Brother Wu, if you have something to say, just say it. Lu Ming smiled. Brother Lu, are you selling that Demon Master token? Wu Zifeng said. Demon Master token? Why? You need it? If you need it, just take it. Qiu Yu and I only need 2. Lu Ming said. He had 3 Demon Master tokens and 1 Demon King token on him. 2 were enough for him and Qiu Yu to enter the universal camp, and the 2 extra were useless. He had originally wanted to give it to Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong, but their cultivation had not reached the heavenly god realm, so they could not use it. It's like this. I have 2 cousins who also participated in this time's universal camp assessment. However, their luck was rather bad, and they didn't manage to complete the assessment. Hence, they would like to purchase 2 Demon Lord tokens from you, Wu Zifeng said. The Wu family also participated in the universal camp's assessment? Why didn't I see him on Mount Shanghai? Lu Ming asked curiously. The Magic City Mountain assessment is just one of the assessments in the universal camp. In fact, there are many geniuses who want to join the universal camp each time. The assessment is also divided into many categories, and they are all randomly selected. Some people will get this kind of assessment, while others will get that kind of assessment. Those who head to Magic City Mountain are only a small portion of the assessment in the universal camp. Wu Zifeng explained. Lu Ming had a sudden realization. So that was the case. It seemed that Wu Zifeng's 2 cousins had taken part in other assessments and did not complete them. It doesn't matter, having an extra Demon Master token is useless. If your cousin needs it, then just give it to them. Lu Ming said. Then I'll thank you in advance. I'll call my 2 cousins over. Wu Zifeng was overjoyed and left Lu Ming's courtyard. Not long after, Wu Zifeng came with 2 young men. The 2 young men looked like they were in their 20s. They were tall, burly, and handsome. Wu Ming. Wu Yue. Greetings, Brother Lu. The 2 young men cupped their fists at Lu Ming. You're too polite, brother. There's no need to be so polite. I heard that you 2 brothers need Demon Master tokens, so I have 2 extra here. Here. 2 Demon Master tokens appeared in Lu Ming's hands. With a wave of his hand, they flew toward Wu Ming and Wu Yu. Wu Ming and Wu Yu reached out to receive it, and revealed a look of great joy. Brother Lu, how many divine crystals does the Demon Master token cost? Well, buy it. Wu Ming said. Since you are Zifeng's brothers, you are also my brothers. We are all brothers, so there is no need to be so polite. I have no use for these 2 Demon Master tokens. You can just take them. There is no need to buy them. Lu Ming said with a smile. Then this. How can we do that? Wu Yue hesitated. Brother Wu, unless you look down on me and are unwilling to be friends with me. Lu Ming deliberately sighed. Brother Lu, you've misunderstood us. We've heard from Zifeng that you're an unparalleled heaven's favorite. We've wanted to be friends with you for a long time. How could we look down on you? That's right. In that case, we'll take this Demon Master token. Wu Ming and Wu Yu quickly said. My 2 brothers Wu When do you plan to go to the Universal Camp? Lu Ming changed the topic and asked. There's still 7 more days before we report to the Star Sky Camp. How about we go together then? Wu Ming said. Just what I wanted. Lu Ming smiled. They were all young people and got to know each other very quickly.